It's time to do another Aquaman storyline. This time he's going to be fighting the monster known as H2O. Yes, it's a monster, not actual water. I don't know why they named it that. The air is silent as Arthur and Mera ride in a helicopter with Major Rhonda Rico and Specialist Marcel Ali of the Aquamarines. It is in that silence that Arthur thinks back to things just before they boarded this flight, and how Mera was stating that the Aquamarines did just try to assassinate him in our previous story. The link to that'll be down below. However, it was because America had come asking for help that Arthur agreed. This is the recognition that they've been working so hard for, that Atlantis can work with the US government. And Mera told him that though she agrees, they must find out why the strange water had transformed Pain. The only way that she will allow this is if she comes with them. After Mera's reluctant approval, Rhonda explained their current situation, thinking that they may have found the source of the strange water. Peter Mortimer, otherwise known as the Scavenger, finally woke up from his coma a week prior, and he revealed the location of the US Navy research base that had been studying a sinkhole. 2 days ago, the Velez base went dark, and their first objective was to safeguard the personnel and then investigate and determine the strange water threat. Once the helicopter was in position, Rhonda tells Marcel that it's time to shark up, and they turn on their aquamarine abilities as they jump into the ocean below. As they reach the shore, the four meet up with the rest of the Aquamarines, Dean, Adrian, and Gary. The group moves through the woods, and Dean reports to Rhonda that they're ready to move on her go, though Wilkes is up ahead babysitting their other guests. Arthur asks, "What do you mean by the other guests?" And once they come out of the brush, Corey walks up with the FBI agents, Ajar and Irving, along with Peter. Arthur looks at Peter asking, "Why did you bring him?" And Peter asks, "Do you think I want to be here? After what that freak did to me?" Arthur tells him that the creature is dead. "We're simply here to discover what created it." And Dean pulls Arthur aside, saying that the brief said that Peter there was the one who encountered the strange water stuff. And Arthur says, "Yeah, during an illegal salvage operation." One of his crewmen, Jonah Payne, came in contact with the substance and later became known as the monster, Dead Water. Though they managed to stop the rampage that left 13 dead, Payne didn't survive, and now they must learn what did that to him. As the team gets ready to enter the base, Arthur scans the levels below and Dean asks what exactly is the strange water stuff that they're looking for. Arthur tells him it's hard to say. "I could usually read all types of water, but this one is unique, older, odder, almost alien. It has some peculiar properties. Couldn't breathe in it, and it's doubtful any Atlantean could. It had a sort of otherness that made it feel almost sentient." Once the team enters the base, they split up to look for the 30 missing workers, but no matter where they look, they find nothing. In one of the labs, Ajar notices that the containers are filled with different kinds of odd-looking fish and asks Mera if she's ever seen anything like those before. Mera says no, not in a million years. Those creatures have not been alive on Earth since the Devion period. Irving pulls out a report stating that that's funny, but it shows that the specimen here was recovered from the bottom of a lagoon in the last 3 weeks, alive. In another part of the facility, Gary notices a half-made device. He says that he's not sure what it is, but someone is trying to build something in a hurry. Rhonda asks if it could be a jamming device, maybe something that could explain the radio silence, but Arthur says that that can't be it. It was never finished. Everyone begins checking in with their reports, and one by one, they all say that they have no signs of anything. And just before Marcel checks off, Dead Water appears in the bathrooms. The team quickly rushes to where Marcel was, and as they enter, they see that it's already too late for Marcel. Rhonda opens fire, but her bullets pass through, not slowing down Dead Water. Dead Water jumps over at Arthur and into the puddle of water and then vanishes. Dead Water is a creature that has the ability to escape using any source of water around them. Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, did fight it in one of our earlier videos, and I'll link it down below. Rhonda stares for a moment and then she looks at the puddle. It is no deeper than a millimeter. She radios back to the others to inform them of what happened, and then a panic begins to come over Peter as a rumbling comes out of the shelf. One of the glass containers shatters, and out of the water, Dead Water springs out to attack. Mera tries to fight it, but Dead Water just knocks her away. And then there's a booming sound coming from the wall as Arthur bursts in shouting to Dead Water, "Your killing spree ends here!" But as Arthur begins to battle Dead Water, he knows that he can't effectively do anything against it, and he yells to Mera, "Drain all the water! Drive the water out of the lab!" Just then, all of the water and the moisture is sucked out of the air and sent outside of the facility, forcing Dead Water to retreat. He jumps into a hole in the wall, and Arthur blocks it, telling Mera, "Go ahead and extend your powers. Remove all water from within the base." Mera's abilities are hydrotelekinesis. She can manipulate and move any water source near her. Rhonda tells Dean to go ahead and have everyone lock down all of the access points and make a perimeter fast. Arthur checks on everyone and Ajar says that she had forgotten how terrifying that thing was, and Peter shouts asking, "I thought you killed the damn thing!" Arthur tells him that Jonah is dead. There must be another dead water. And Peter yells back, telling him that he's not okay with this. We have to extract it now. You said it was supposed to be safe here. Once everyone calms down, Arthur takes a look at the only lead that they have, the half-completed device. As he inspects it, Arthur says that he thought it was a jamming device of sorts, but now it appears to be a shield, a rather crude version of an aqua telepathic goad that Atlantis uses to control the sea creatures. Irving asks if it can generate a field, what is it supposed to be keeping out? And Arthur says that his guess would be dead water. But perhaps if someone was skilled in dissecting Atlantean technology. And Peter asks him, what, you? Arthur tells him that he should already have some idea of how the goads work. He's already stolen enough of them as a scavenger. While the perimeter is set, Corey radios in quietly stating, "Major?" And Rhonda asks why is he whispering, and Corey tells her that it's because the damn thing is right behind him. He's gonna need some assistance. As he transforms into his aquamarine form, his shark form, everyone else begins to move to his location, following the loud thumping sounds. As everyone turns the corner, Deadwater throws Corey through the wall, and he gets ready to tear into him. Back in the lab, Arthur tells Peter, "Whatever you're doing, power up that shield now." Peter sighs, telling him this better work. And then he hits the switch, and a blue light begins to spread throughout the facility and onto Deadwater. It screams out in pain as it flails around on the floor, and it slowly begins to revert back to its original form, a human form. The man coughs trying to pick himself up, but Dean charges forward, opening fire on the man. Later, as Corey receives medical attention, Ajar pulls out paperwork stating that the idea has been confirmed. Lawrence Quinn, one of the scientists assigned to the base, one of the people that they were supposed to be rescuing. Mara turns to Dean, and Dean tells everyone, "Don't look at me. That guy was Deadwater, and he just tore up Corey." While everyone argues the moral judgment of shooting an unarmed man, Arthur stops everyone, stating that they came here to do something and they will see to it. Him and Mara will swim down into the sinkhole to investigate, but they're going to need scuba gear since they can't breathe that otherworldly strange water. A short while later, Arthur and Mara are swimming down to the bottom of the lagoon. But back inside, the Aquamarines finish bringing up the last of their supplies, and as Peter looks at the cases, he says, "Please don't tell me that that's an M390 mini nuke." Dean laughs, "Ha ha, what if it is?" And Peter says, "Give me one good reason as to why you're not using it right now." Before he can answer, though, Irving interrupts, stating that she just checked the reports. Quinn was a biologist, however, he was not dive rated. Rhonda asks what that's supposed to mean, and Irving explains that he couldn't have descended into the sinkhole. It's not the immersion of the H2O that turns people into dead water, it's something else. Ajar then says that she also did some tests. Water samples from the lagoon are heavy with organic fiber. Rhonda asks what kind, and Ajar tells her human tissue, atomized. The concentration suggests that she just found the rest of the base crew, the other 29 people. Back down in the lagoon, Arthur and Mara swim deeper into the sinkhole, and Mara asks, "What is that?" Arthur looks at the fissure and he says that he sees it too, but he just doesn't know what it is. Up in the base, everyone tries to get in contact with Arthur, but all signals come back as dead air. And down below, Arthur begins to feel a pulse from the sinkhole, asking Mara if she felt it as well. She tells him no, and he tells her that it's an aqua telepathic thing then, and it feels sentient. She begins to move through the water, stating that this H2O is surrounding them, but it behaves rather curiously, like its essential properties are different. Arthur says that he feels a desperate urge to turn around and flee, and Mara tells him that she can imagine that his aqua telepathy is making him more susceptible to this. They have to press on. Arthur tells her that she's right, of course. They should check the gate. And Mara asks, "Why did you just call it that?" Arthur tells her that he doesn't know why. All he knows is that it just felt right, and now it is time for them to go, together, into it. Up top, panic begins to set in between Ajar and Peter shouts that they should just go ahead and end this whole thing now. Rhonda tells everyone that she's going to be crystal clear about this. The deployment of that device is the ultimate fallback. She will only consider using it in the event of a confirmed Alpha-class threat, but currently, they are nowhere near that. She then transforms into her shark form, telling everyone, "Now you all just need to calm the hell down and get a grip." Adrian breaks the silence, stating that he's got something. He's gonna try boosting the signal again. Static begins to come through, and bits of Arthur's words can be heard. He says that they have located a gateway, like a portal, and it seems to be a scaled-up version of what Deadwater used. Mara and him are going to swim through it now, and Rhonda asks where does that portal lead, but Arthur tells her that he can't say for sure. But it's not anywhere on this planet. As Arthur and Mara swim through, Arthur feels something and says that this place is called the Tethys. The aqua telepathic link is stronger here. The Tethys is an ocean world, a whole world of sentient water. As they look around, Mara asks if they're in any sort of danger, and Arthur says no, it's not hostile, it's been waiting. waiting for life forms to pass its test and make contact, which is why they must press on. She then asks what it did with those that failed. Arthur tells her that that was the pulse, a defense mechanism. It generated fear in any intruders, forcing them to turn back. However, if the intruder was persistent and kept going, the fear becomes too great and it turns them into dead water. Mara told him, wait, if the pulse can have that effect on anyone in its range, oh god, we have to return to the surface. Back up top, Adrian tries to reconnect with Arthur, but Ajar says they have a problem. Peter's missing. Everyone begins a search, and Dean says that it would seem that Peter has taken the mini nuke with him. As everyone separates to find him, Ajar finds him in a room alone with the nuke armed. Peter tells her that they have 30 minutes to get clear, but as Ajar screams that he's an idiot, she begins to feel a pain in her stomach. Peter asks her what's wrong, and as she comes back up, she transforms into dead water. As Peter shouts because dead water's attacking him, Ajar throws him across the room, and soon everyone else runs towards the screams. Rhonda quickly jumps into battle while Dean pulls Peter away, and as he explains that the thing is Ajar, his fears begin to set in. His face begins to change, and then he also turns into a dead water. The two begin tearing into the Aquamarines, and then there's suddenly an explosion as Arthur and Mara crash in, telling everyone to get back. While Aquaman holds them off, Mara begins to suck the moisture out of the air, and it forces them all to retreat, just as the scientists did before. Once there's no sign of dead waters, everyone regroups, and Aquaman says that they need to hurry and activate the shield. Rhonda then walks in stating about that. The device got smashed. Mara tells Arthur that they need to make contact with the Tethys. They have to have them shut down the signal so that Ajar and Peter can return to normal. Arthur says that it's possible, but they just don't know enough about the Tethys yet. And Mara stops him, telling him that they can learn its ways later. Just make contact. You alone have that connection. Dean tells everyone that there's no time for that. The mini nuke is running. So Adrian runs over to cover up the nuke's controls, and he says that Peter jammed the safety lock when he rigged it. He can try to disarm it, but he can't guarantee anything. But as they're all trying to figure out what to do next, Ajar and Peter come smashing into the room again. Arthur shouts to Rhonda to go and get everyone out of here. He's gonna handle this, and then he grabs the mini nuke and he jumps out of the facility. He lands in the ocean, and just behind him, Mara dives in asking what his plan is. He tells her that he's blocking the signal. This is the only way to save both Ajar and Peter. And Mara tells him no, he can talk to the Tethys. He can make contact with it. Adrian can disarm the device. He takes a deep breath before swimming into the H2O, and he says, we don't have time for possibilities. Please, go back. The blast radius will. But Mara yells, Neptune's teeth! You're mad! You're gonna kill yourself down there. Please, just talk to it. Make contact. Arthur swims faster, telling Mara that he's asking her to go back now. This is the only way to be sure. Soon he swims into the lagoon and he tosses the briefcase into the cracks. The mini nuke goes off, and everyone on the surface sees both Ajar and Peter returning to normal. Just as everyone wonders what happened to Arthur and Mara, a bubble floats to the top and it pops, releasing the two of them. Rhonda and the rest run into the water to help them, and they ask how the hell they survived that. And Arthur coughs, stating that Mara made a hard water bubble that saved them both. How are Ajar and Peter? Rhonda smiles, stating that they're okay. And Dean yells that that was one hell of a thing. But while everyone congratulates Arthur, Mara stares in disappointment. Later that night, as everything settles down, Mara tells Arthur that his American friends are pleased with the outcome. And Arthur begins to say that it was a judgment call. There was no time to. But she stops him, telling him, yes, you just kept on insisting. You abandoned diplomatic contact in favor of a violent response. You were faced with a mystery from the deep oceans, and rather than make a deal with the unknown, you used a weapon. You treated the Tethys in the same way the surface treats Atlantis, not even trying to understand it. Meanwhile, down in the penitentiary vaults of Atlantis, Coram Wrath sits in his cell and a light shines on him. He asks who it is, and the voice tells him that they are the future, and his hour has come. And that concludes the H2O Aquaman storyline. Now, stick around to this channel by subscribing if you want to find out how Aquaman lost the crown, because it's the next storyline that we're going to be covering. And you know, Aquaman's about to become very popular thanks to a little movie known as Justice League, in which he's a surfer dude that's really cool. Don't you want to know about Aquaman? I know you do. Don't forget to press the little bell button to get yourself some notifications when we do stuff on this channel, and you can always check out the Justice League playlist and the Aquaman playlist. Thank you, and have a good night.